Hello and welcome to the next part of our life. This time we will do the last moment of step 2. So let's see what's gonna happen in here. The sun warmed your skin from its place in the sky, and you closed your eyes, enjoying the mix of the heat with the pleasant breeze that drifted past you. You and Lee had spread out a blanket on top of one of the hills behind your house and had been relaxing there for a while now. Lee had come over earlier in the day, and while a range of activities had been discussed, from staying home to heading down to the beach, a picnic on the hill had been the choice you both settled on. A small spread was laid out in front of you, some bottled water, soft drinks, as well as chips and sliced fruit. You sat up and reached for a snack, listening to Lee talk away about the musical she had gotten to see a few days ago. What voice did I give you again? It's been a hot minute. I guess just a high-pitched voice? It was unbelievable. There was singing, dancing, crazy stunts, and it was all done live right in front of my face. Maybe one day we could go together. I've got to see more shows like that. You smiled at Lee's enthusiasm, knowing how much she enjoyed singing and performing. And she was good at it too. You had gotten the chance to hear her sing a couple of tunes, and you knew she put in a lot of effort into it. Are these my only choices? Is there no choice for I like to sing but I don't know how good I actually am? Well, let's just... more... It would be more accurate to say that I very much like to sing. I like to hear myself sing. But I don't know if it's actually good. I mean, it's very easy to fool yourself into thinking that you're very good at something because you yourself like what you're doing there. So, I mean, this is a game. Let's just pretend I actually can sing. It was nice the two of you could share that interest. I wonder if maybe we could put on our own show. Think of how fun it'd be. We could perform for our parents and ask our friends and some other people to come and watch too. It would totally work. Stage fright, stage fright, stage fright. But wouldn't showing off to everybody be fun? The thought of an audience made you feel queasy. No thanks. Not really.
Are you sure?
Are you really super sure? You have so many skills you could show off to the masses. No. No thanks. Sorry. Your cousin seemed a little disappointed, but she nodded and respected your wishes all the same. The two of you lay back on the blanket and lazed in the sun, throwing ideas back and forth on what you could fill your time with. The beach was nearby, so you could go swimming or collect shells. Or find something to do back at home after all. In the end, nothing was tempting enough to move you from your current position, so you continued chatting with Lee and nibbling on your snacks while the sun traveled in the sky overhead. So, how are your neighbors doing? You haven't spoken about them lately. You knew Lee wasn't talking about neighbors generally or down the street. She wanted to hear about Holden's across the road. Of course she wants to know that. It was no secret that she liked to keep up to date on what was happening with them, or more specifically Cover. There weren't many people your age around to talk about. It was just a question on how they were doing, right? Hmm. They're great? That's good. I hope to get to see Kova again. She was wanting something juicier, but it couldn't be helped. Lee loved to chat about others' relationships, and he would always ask you for the details on people you both knew. Hey, did you want to see if Kova would join the picnic? Hmm. Hmm. He's busy this afternoon. Yesterday he said he and his parents were going out. They might be fishing on the docks by his dad's store. Oh, that's too bad. I bet he will have a great time with his mom and dad, though. The sun slowly began to set, the sky turning a rosy pink and then warm orange. It's too bad Derek isn't in the neighborhood today. I like him. Derek is adorable. Let's just say, yeah, he's a good person. I knew you would think so. So, exactly how much do you like him? Or maybe there's someone else that I haven't heard of yet? Lee wiggled her eyebrows at you suggestively, and you knew exactly what she was implying. Oof. I can't answer that. I don't fucking know. Lee's eyes sparkled in an instant like she just hit the jackpot. I don't know. What? Who is it? Mr. Holden. Okay. I mean, understandable, very much. But nope, I'm not giving you the gratification. Tell me something else about them then. This news was just too exciting, she wasn't going to be deterred. You weren't surprised when Lee started squeezing you for more details, and you answered as much as you were comfortable with. The two of you talked about your preferences and who you liked and stuff. You found that it was nice having someone to speak with about these kinds of things. Finally, you both decided to pack everything up and head back home for the evening. What's going on here? Upon walking through the front door, you were met by your parents and Elizabeth hovering around each other in the living room. Tension hung thick in the air as the three of them turned to you and Lee frowning slightly. You had interrupted something, exactly what you weren't sure. Yeah, what's up? Your moms looked at each other, wondering which of them was going to speak first. Eventually, Mom cleared her throat and spoke. We're just having a talk with your sister. The room fell quiet again, with no one quite knowing what to say. You felt incredibly awkward, but the silence didn't last long. You didn't have to stop just 'cause those two are here. There's no reason to try keeping it a secret. Elizabeth was mad, with her arms folded defensively over her chest, but your moms nodded in agreement with her. Elizabeth was asking about her parents. Her biological ones. The world spun around you at the news. You couldn't understand. Why was this happening now? When you glanced at Lee, she shuffled her feet uncomfortably, as though she didn't know if she should be there or not anymore. You didn't know either. Your moms had always been open and honest about the fact that neither of them had given birth to you or your sister, but the details hadn't been fully explained before. It made sense that Elizabeth didn't know a lot about her biological parents and wanted to know more. You just hadn't ever thought you would accidentally stumble into it. Elizabeth looked at your parents expectantly. She wasn't going to let the unintentional interruption derail things. We don't want to keep that information from either of you. It's your right to know your past, but we did want to wait until you asked us to until you asked us to hear yourself. Well, it's happening now, so. Your mom shared a nervous glance, and Ma took in a quick breath before speaking again. I adopted you from the Philippines when you were just a baby. Elizabeth dropped her arms, her eyebrows shooting upwards in surprise. Wait, I wasn't born here? No, you weren't. You could clearly see that your sister was appalled by this information. You struggled even more with what to do or how to react. Am I gonna have to pass some tests to even be a citizen?
No.
No, you were adopted into the country. We took care of things. You're already a citizen. You have nothing to worry about. I followed all the laws when it came to bringing a child into the US. Nothing can be held against you. Elizabeth sighed, placated with the information, but still far from happy. Who were my parents as people? Why did they put me up for adoption in the first place? Ma softly put her hands over Elizabeth's shoulder, trying to provide some support before she gave her her answer. I'm so sorry, sweetie. Your parents were reported to have died. They didn't go into the details on the specifics of how, but you were an orphan. I wish we had better news for you, Elizabeth. Elizabeth was torn between emotions, her eyes filled with tears as she threw her hands in the air, settling on enraged. Great! So I can never meet them, even if I wanted to. Not that I could have anyway, but they lived in another part of the world when they were still alive. Elizabeth turned her back on you and your moms and stormed off, sprinting up the stairs and to her room before anyone could stop her. I have to go and talk to her. Ma immediately started to follow her, but Mom gently held her by the arm and shook her head. We should give her a little space to process it all. Your mom's head hung low, but she stopped walking. With Elizabeth now gone, the two of them seemed to remember you and Lee were still standing awkwardly off to the side. I'm sorry you had to see all that. It's not how I expected it would have happened when the time came. But since it's the topic of the day, Rina, is there anything you would like to ask? You deserve to know, after all. Lee patted your back and gave you a supportive look. I mean, I probably wouldn't be interested in the details, but just something general. Like, for example, if I had been born into another country, or my parents were from another country, then I probably would like to know that. Would be interesting to maybe look into it. But other than that, I probably wouldn't be much interested. Your parents both nodded in sync to your reply, ready to talk. I can leave if you want to have things to be private. There's not really a point. I can do that. Lee shifted a little closer to you in support, and you were glad to have her there with you. It made you feel a little stronger somehow. You turned to face your parents again, preparing yourself for what they were about to tell you. Ma was the first to speak, her voice quivering with emotion. You were adopted as a baby, but 2 years after Elizabeth. We used a different organization that time, and you were adopted within the US. We're sorry to tell you, Rina, your parents also passed away, and no other family member took you in, if there were any. That's why we wanted to wait until you asked. We didn't want to suddenly drop that into your lap. We wanted you to be prepared. We're sorry, Rina. Lee gave you a reassuring squeeze on her arm to show she was there for you. I mean, never knew them, so okay. Thanks for telling me. I did wanna know, and now I do. Thanks for listening, Reyna. If there's anything else you want to know, all you have to do is ask. We'll do our best to answer any questions you have.
Are you okay?
How are you feeling right now? Are you going to be okay? Lee watched you closely, as though judging how exactly she should react to what was going on. I mean, those two are our parents. I wouldn't really care about. I mean, yeah, it's sad, but in the end, you didn't knew them. And this time, they said it was within the US, right? So, not even a different nationality or stuff. This may sound cold, but blood ties don't really mean so much to me. So in the end, the real parents of the MC here are just strangers. Nothing more, nothing less. You spoke with a refreshed tone, as though you had a load off. Your mom smiled sadly, but you knew they believed you. No one seemed to have any words after that. I think checking up on Elizabeth would be a good idea. Because theoretically we now have a shared experience? It would be good to let her know, maybe. So that she doesn't feel alone. You were now. When will I be able to pronounce W? You were worried about Elizabeth, even though she had been so angry when talking to your moms about everything. You could see she was clearly sad. You headed over to the stairs and up to her room. Lee can wait. It would be best to speak to Elizabeth alone. There was more chance of her opening up to you that way. Waiting in front of your sister's door, you raised a hand to knock on it. There was no answer for a good minute or two, and when you jiggled the handle, you found it was locked. Raising your hand again, you knocked louder this time, thinking she must have her headphones on and so couldn't hear you. Ah yes, the privilege of actually locking your door. She didn't answer the door a second time. It was clear to you that she either still couldn't hear or she was straight up ignoring you. It hurt to be shut out, especially right now. Room. When safely behind your closed bedroom, you let out a heavy breath before heading over to take a seat on your bed. You lay back on your bed and stared at the ceiling, tracing the outlines of the old cracks and lines up there with your eyes. You had no idea what to do now, so you stared where you were for a while, thinking everything through. Everyone had been so upset earlier, and you didn't really know what you could do to help. Eventually the sun finished setting, casting long shadows on your bedroom walls until the outside was enveloped by the dark of the night completely. A sudden knock drew your attention, causing you to sit up straight. When you realized it wasn't coming from the door, but the window, your head snapped towards it. You didn't even have to question who it was. There was only one person who would come tapping at your window, especially at night. Did Cover climb the wall again? You moved closer and looked out, sure enough seeing the familiar head of green hair on the other side of the glass. Only a moment you had the window unlatched and opened for him to enter. Cover pulled himself in through the window with ease, standing straight in your room and dusting himself off. Cover, what are you doing here? When he saw you, he seemed worried, and he ran a hand through his hair before speaking. I came to the front door. I wanted to just come by, but your mom's told me they didn't know if you should be bothered right now, that I should come back later. I know they wouldn't have said it like you were working on some school stuff or whatever. So I got worried, but something bad happened. And then you climbed up the side of my house. He smiled, feeling unrepentant for disregarding your mom's ruling.
I mean...
How else was I supposed to get in? You couldn't quite believe he had really shown up for you like this, but then again, you shouldn't have been surprised. He was always there for you.
Are you okay?
Well, what happened? Cobra pulled your desk chair next to your bed and sat down. His long legs bent in front of him. You fidgeted a little with your bed covers, not quite knowing what to say, but he was willing to wait. My parents are dead. That's it. I shouldn't laugh about it, but that would have been a bit Well, there's a lot going on right now. Cover looked at you in confusion, his eyebrows dripping. What is it? My parents, from before my mom's died when I was a baby. Mom didn't say how, maybe they don't know, but there wasn't any other family I could live with, so that's why I got adopted. Without having to say anything else, Cover reached out and pulled you into a tight embrace, his familiar warmth enveloping you. Meanwhile, my MC is just like, this is actually not a big deal, but thank you, I guess. I'm sorry, Rina. His words were whispered comfortingly into your shoulder. I'm okay, really. I'm glad you are. Still, he didn't let go. Can you explain everything to me? You nodded softly before taking in a heavy breath and launching into the story. Carver sat quietly and listened attentively, nodding every now and then or taking in a sharp inhale. Silence settled between you as Carver sat quietly for a moment, contemplating everything you had said. When he finally spoke, his voice was quiet, drifting through the night towards you.
Rina,
Ugh, this sounds so weird. I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry.
I'm really sorry about what happened to your parents. So sorry. So sorry. Again, I didn't know them, but thank you anyway. He stopped suddenly and took in a deep, shaky breath, and you got the impression he was struggling with what was right to say. Oh, believe me, boy, I have 100 times more problems saying anything in difficult situations. I would rather just run away. No thanks to dealing with difficult social situations, no thanks. Not made for that, not made for that at all. I really didn't know them, so... You shrugged your shoulders, not knowing how to feel. Everything was so overwhelming, it was difficult to get a good grasp.
Rina.
It sounds so weird. You're not doing anything wrong, you know that, right? I think that you can be as sad as you want, for as long as you need, or you can feel okay about it whenever you want to. He sighed and ran a hand through his hair as he looked out towards the window.
It's okay.
I guess what I'm trying to say is, whatever you feel about it is how you feel about it. You don't have to force yourself to be different. Yeah. You couldn't offer more than that, but you didn't need more. Carver smiled at you a little, and you could tell he was trying to be comforting. And your mom's definitely don't. It doesn't matter if you're not blood related, you're definitely family. I can see that, and I hope you can too. Exactly. What do I need other parents when my two moms are so fantastic, so... You felt the reassurance in his eyes. A knock on the door made you look up, though before you could even move, it swung open and Elizabeth stood in your doorframe. She walked closer and you didn't quite know what to do, or what she was planning on saying.
So?
Would you mind going? I want to talk to just Rina. You can come back, it's not gonna be forever anything. Cover seemed equal parts concerned and skeptical. Leaving now wasn't a concept that thrilled him. Yeah, that's...
Really?
Oh? Then we're on the same page. She made a little move along gesture with her hands and it was settled. Sorry, Cora. You waited until the two of you were alone before fixing her with an inquisitive look. Elizabeth folded her arms, looking you over. Did moms tell you about her parents too? Elizabeth broke eye contact after that.
Sorry.
Why did you want to talk to me? I went to see you and you didn't even answer. Elizabeth raised an eyebrow at the news.
What?
I didn't hear anything. Shutting everything out with loud music was very typical of her sister. You didn't feel much less confused, though. Why did you stop doing that, then? She shook her head as though the answer should be obvious. I was worried about you. I was the one who brought it up, but I made you deal with whatever was left when I was gone. She sighed, glancing upwards for a moment before settling on you once more. I wanted to ask you what happened without everyone breathing down our necks. I mean, like, what she did wasn't really mean or anything. It was just a very normal human response. So, like... I'm not mad. She stuck her nose up a little at that, but her smile was soft. I'm okay, Elizabeth, it didn't upset me. How are you allowed to be that mature? The lightning spirits in her were quickly gone as she slipped back into a scowl. You have to be born in the US to become president. What? You had never heard of that dream of hers before. She noticed your bafflement and continued. I get I was never gonna be president, but it just feels weird, having stuff taken away, not even getting a chance at it. I don't like having to know that when I was born I was gonna have a completely different life. So different I can't even think about what it will look like in my head. I could have spoken another language, lived away from everything I've ever seen here. Had someone else as my sibling. And then my parents died and I was adopted and the life I got became a totally new thing forever. I can't go back to what it was even if I wanted to. A heaviness settled between you and the person who became your sister. It's a very understandable feeling. Like thinking in what ifs and all that. Especially since she was originally born in another country. It's like a completely different culture was just stolen from you. It was a confusing feeling to have lived one way for as long as you can remember, but not having it be what was originally yours. Elizabeth watched you seriously. She was still trying to make sense of this to you and herself. I don't know why today was the day. Nothing came up to make me ask the question. It was just something I had in my head for a while. When it was just me and the moms in the living room, I just kind of said it finally, and there you go. She shifted from one foot to another, relaxing her stance just a bit. She also spoke more gently. Learning about them and what happened doesn't change how I feel about our family, Rina. She smirked, fixing you with sharp eyes. I finally figured a long time ago that moms weren't our biological parents. That wasn't news. Yeah, keep listening. Nothing about the family I was born in would have made me decide that this wasn't my family anymore. If you had hoped you would be free of my big sisterly status, I don't think you're so lucky. She bumped her shoulders against yours playfully, her lips tilted at the corner.
You'll always be my little sibling.
Ooh, voiced. Bump back. Oder, jokingly groan. This is a bit sappy, but okay. Chuckling, she seemed pleased with how the conversation had gone. In the end. We should have probably head downstairs and make sure moms are okay. It's been a long day for everybody. You gave her a nod. Down we go. You met up with Corvo just outside the room and made the short trip to the lower floor of your home together. The familiarity of it all felt nice. When you stepped into the living room, you found your moms quietly sitting together at the kitchen table. They both got to their feet when they noticed the arrival, and Ma gave you a careful smile. It seemed they were too concerned to really register that Corvo was inexplicably here now, despite being turned away at the door earlier. Oh, you took him with him? We're so glad to see you. Everything's alright. That's wonderful, sweetheart, really wonderful. Madam came over and wrapped her arms around you and Elizabeth, giving you a tight hug. It didn't take long for Mom to join in, putting her arms around the both of you.
Love you.
We really couldn't have asked for better, kiddos. We love you. More than we could ever say. Moms. Smooshing me. You all chuckled, the rumble of laughter shaking you all as you continued to hold each other tight. I love you too. They both pulled back eventually and grinned at the two of you, and you knew then that you had all... and you knew then that you all had each other and you always would. Hey, I hope you're alright. Lee came up towards you and a soft smile plastered on her face. Oops, we left her down here? We ditched her. Oh no. And are you okay, Elizabeth? Elizabeth rolled her eyes, huffed a breath, and you knew she wasn't used to showing her vulnerable side.
Fine.
I'm doing fine. Lee nodded, though you could tell she didn't quite believe her. Well now, since we're all here, how about we do something together as a family? That sounds like an excellent idea. We should have some fun before the night's over.
Totally.
I love the sound of that. Yeah, okay. Cover just standing here in the mess of all this. Well, I had to also endure it with his family, so it's only fair. Why not? You had the smile that threatened to tilt your lips, knowing that Elizabeth must have been in a good mood, if she hadn't even teased Cover for being part of it. And no matter what she could have said about it, you wanted him to be here. The two of you had practically grown up together over the past 5 years. Who's got a suggestion? It should be something we can all do here in the house, with everyone in the same room. We could just put on a movie. That would be wonderful.
Yeah.
It's good to me.
Me too.
What she said. Yeah. I mean, why not? It did sound more like something like they would pull up a board game or something. But watching a movie is also fine, you know. I'll cook up some popcorn. The rest of you can pick a movie. Popcorn. I miss popcorn. I miss the movie theater. Your mom headed off to the kitchen and Ma turned to face the rest of you. What do we have in mind? Everyone else can decide. I'll watch anything. Anything but drama. We don't need any more of that today. There were some chuckles at her joke, and you thought about what you would prefer to watch. Honestly, of all these things, horror. But I have a feeling that Cover does not appreciate horror. But well, I guess we don't know. Not everyone who is more on the sensitive side hates horror. I mean, I'm sensitive and I love horror. A family-friendly film, like an animated film. Never get enough of those. Cool. Perfect. With the basics settled, Ma took the sorting through the DVD collection. You didn't notice that Elizabeth was sliding up to you until she was right next to you arm to arm. Since there's only so much room on the couch, I say it should go to Rina and I. This is our day. Wait, I wanna sit with you too. I'm small, you won't even notice I'm there. Elizabeth raised a skeptical eyebrow, not so sure about that. Ma stood back up with a DVD in her hand and a smirk on her face. I want to sit with the cool kids too. Surely there's room for one more, right? Might be a tight fit, but we can make it work. You could tell that Ma was teasing, and Elizabeth rolled her eyes at where the thing was going. She had expected an easy victory. I bet you want to sit there too, huh, Cover? And now she... Rip Cover. Ma tapped Cover on the shoulder with the DVD case. He laughed awkwardly at her teasing. Yeah, I probably wouldn't like being the center of attention. It might have been what Elizabeth was after, but you would have preferred being left out of it. Mom came back with a big bowl of fresh popcorn, and you inhaled the smell of the hot salted snack. What's the skinny? We all want to sit with Elizabeth and Rina, but there's not enough room on the couch. Mom took the answer in stride and pursed her lips thoughtfully.
What a pickle.
That's definitely a problem. I suppose there's only one solution. Elizabeth and Rina will have to sit on the floor in front of the couch. Then away there's spots behind them and on the floor at the sides.
Yes.
Oh yes, that's fair.
Rude.
What? No. The whole point was us getting the couch to ourselves.
Sorry.
Sorry, but that's the cost of popularity. Elizabeth groaned and crossed her arms over her chest in annoyance. Fine, Rina, you're with me on the front. The rest of you can fend for yourself. There was a mad dash as Mom and Lee raced for the couch behind you, and Elizabeth and Ma put the DVD in the player before joining them. Cover took a seat at your other side on the floor, giving you a small smile. Everyone soon quieted down, and the only sounds to be heard were the hands of scooping up popcorn and munching it down as the movie began. In that moment, you couldn't have been more pleased to be a part of the family you had. Then, this was it for the moments of step 2. Next time we will then, end the summer and get into that super long cutscene. So until then, bye!